Climate change. What does it truly mean? I have a question for you guys. How many people do you think will get impacted by just half a degree change in temperature in Celsius? Just half a degree. How many people do you think will get impacted?
Well, I would think just about everyone would be affected.
Well, Dr. Grun, I certainly agree with you, and the facts back you up. According to the latest World Meteorological Society report in 2018, when almost 100 scientists analyzed what just half a degree change in temperature in Celsius would do, they found that over 69 million people will get impacted by natural disasters, 60 million people will be exposed to drought and food shortages, ice-free Arctic summers will become 10 times more likely, and there would be a 50% reduction in fishing, just from half a degree change in temperature. Now I want to give you another statistic. According to the US Energy and Information Administration, 74% of all greenhouse gases, the thing that causes climate change, comes from fossil fuels. Think about it. This one problem of finding a sustainable energy source is single-handedly stopping us from solving climate change. The thing is, though, that there are already a multitude of sustainable sources out there, like solar, hydro, geothermal, or wind. But the problem is that they can't control their output. What I mean is that they can't control how much energy is given to the grid. Take wind power, for example. When there's more wind out there, more electricity is generated and more is sent to the grid. And on the other hand, when there's less wind out there, less electricity is generated and less is sent to the grid. It's inconsistent, and that's why fossil fuels are used more in today's society. See, fossil fuels can control their output. Take coal as an example. When you need less energy, just simply burn less coal. When you need more energy, just burn more coal. You can control how much it gives to the grid. You can control its output. Now let's switch gears a little bit. It's the end of 6th grade at ACS, and I'm trying to decide my science fair topic. I'm trying to decide which topic best suits me, and I start researching about wind turbines. After a little bit of research, I come across the same statistics that I gave you at the start of my speech. I was shocked and decided that this would be my science fair topic. But I wasn't planning to do a normal experimental project. I wanted to design something to help solve this issue. And after hours of research with my wonderful science teacher, Ms. Goretto, I came up with a solution. I want you all to take a look at your phones right now. How do you think power is stored in them? Well, power is stored in the battery, but more specifically, the rechargeable battery, and that was the key to creating an environmentally sustainable wind turbine. See, in a normal wind turbine, when energy is created, it goes straight to the grid. If a rechargeable battery is added, when energy is created, it gets stored in the battery and in the turbine itself. When there is a sufficient amount of wind, the energy generated will stay in the turbine. If and when the grid needs energy, it will be taken out of the battery, but the excess energy will still stay in the battery. This system ensures the fact that when there is no wind, there is still power, making it a truly sustainable source of energy and a sustainable wind turbine. If every wind turbine today were to implement the same technology of just adding a rechargeable battery, then we could save the world and stop climate change. But the thing is that it doesn't need to be just wind turbines. The same process can be applied to solar panels by just simply adding a rechargeable battery. But there are some problems. They're very expensive. Installing a home wind turbine costs around $35,000, not including maintenance, according to Home Guide in 2023. Commercial wind turbines cost in the millions more to buy and maintain. This problem needs to be solved by the local government if we are ever going to make sustainable sources of wind more widespread. But see, all these ideas would just stay ideas if the world doesn't take action now. We need to stop pushing climate change off as just another problem that we would solve later. But in truth, the impact cannot be overstated. I want to tell you a story, and don't worry, it's a good story for a change. This is about the Montreal Protocol. In the 70s and 80s, scientists discovered this harmful gas called CFC. It was being used in refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. And it was being released into our atmosphere. And when being released into our atmosphere, it was going into the ozone layer. And the ozone layer is a critical part of our environment that protects us from harmful UV radiation from the sun. A ban for CFC was proposed to the UN. And let me tell you, this is one of the greatest things that has ever happened. Every single country unanimously decided to ban CFC. But here's the more shocking statistic. This is the only time in the history of the entire world where all countries have agreed on something. Only time. Let that take a moment to sink in. Well, look at the result. After the ban was implemented, the ozone layer started immediately recovering, and hundreds of thousands of lives were saved. But why am I even bringing this up to you? Well, if every country today were to start implementing renewable sources of energy, then we could save the world once again, just like how we did in the 70s and 80s. And that's where it comes to you. You, especially my generation, have the chance to change the world. Someday, the world is going to be in our hands, and we will have to do something about it. We can't just leave it to the grown-ups, because let's be real. When the world becomes unlivable, it'll be our problem, not theirs. We need to care, because if we don't, then this will continue to happen. Yes, this, the thing that you've been staring at for the entirety of my speech, is our Earth when we neglect the needs of it. And what is it exactly? It's the amount, in metric tons, of emissions released just during my speech. Think about that. I'm not saying that we should care about climate change. I'm saying that we need to care about climate change. I did it through a school project on wind turbines, but you can do it any way possible. Remember, the wind may stop sometimes, but we must find a way to continue.